Hi, good morning, Srini. Good morning, Mamshi.
Good morning, Dominic.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Dominic.
Good morning, Srini. I know you're traveling, and we are glad, and all the parties are glad that you're able to make it for this webinar. So great.
Thank you.
So we are now 11:02. So it's a very interesting subject that been chosen by our speakers, Srini and Vamshi. So this is our continuous process of educating and sharing the knowledge, and most of our webinar comes out with something unique to all our listeners and viewers of our various webinars we've been doing. I think probably we have crossed over 118 webinars till now since last 1.5 years. So I'm happy that Durang has come forward to share the knowledge and do more with CCTV, do more with your surveillance. Though we all know what is video surveillance system and video management system, I've always found Durang has something unique to offer to our Indian customer, which is again inspired by our Atmanirbhar Bharat. So when I met both speakers, Srini and Vamshi, I found technologically they are much advanced to so-called our multinational VMS that is available in India. So we also discussed why we should focus on logistic and warehouse. So the video surveillance system goes beyond the protection of theft and just a surveillance, just a camera. So video-based business intelligence or business data from surveillance video is a popular tool for helping managers to improve company operations. So labeling and analyzing footage can help quantify the productivity. These integration can boost revenue by revealing relevant information. I am sure this webinar will be of great help to all the listeners and viewers of this webinar, and especially to those who are in warehousing and logistic business. So this today's I'm the host for the program, and I come from fire and security background, almost 36 years, and founder of Fire and Security Association of India. We've been doing a lot of seminars and webinars throughout these 18 years of existence in FSCI. So, with me, we have Durang, who's powered by the technology is powered by Durang, which was founded in 2015. Durang gathered highly talented global team to create this cloud-based platform. Innovative video streaming and storage technology offers client the ultimate in video surveillance functionality delivered seamlessly from the cloud. At Durang, they want to help businesses and organizations maximize the potential of their surveillance cameras. To do this, they have built a secure, reliable, and cost-effective video platform that provides users with deeply intelligent analytics and insight in real time. With e-commerce increasing by 20% annually, the logistics sector facing unprecedented digital transformation, where connectivity and reputation are the key to being competitive. With millions of daily shipments, warehousing, transport vehicle, and people involved, Industry 4.0 requires a change in logistics. Smart warehouse equipped with state-of-the-art surveillance can help drive efficiency, lower the cost of operations, and improve safety and security of the employee as well as the goods. So Durang is headquartered in US. They have R&D in Finland and develop and global support in Hyderabad. Mr. Srini and Vamshi are both NRI who's come and developed this software back in India and well accepted by most of the consulting engineers and security managers across the country. They have a remarkable R&D center with over 75 people working throughout the day. So I have two gentlemen here. I would like to introduce DP Srinivas, who is the CRO of Durang Tech Service. Srini with 22 years of diverse experience in various industries, ranging from finance, real estate, automobile, and IT. His global work experience and extensive travel gave him keen understanding of world markets. Being ferocious leader and extensive traveler, he is a strong believer that concept of innovation ideas coupled with strategic implementation and commercialization lead to creation of job and wealth. The mantra can lead corporate India to become world economic leader. We have second speaker, Vamsi Krishna, who is the COO of Durang Tech Services. Again, Vamsi with Krishna has 25 years of cross-functional management experience in project management, operation, technology, infrastructure, people, and customer management. He has extensive experience in dealing with cross-cultural teams and customers from across the globe, including US, Europe, South Africa, and Middle East. As the head of operations for Durang for the past 8 years, he has overseen development, implementation, and support of the cutting-edge Durang Vision Smart Surveillance solution. As a technical evangelist, he advocates and helps customers benefit from understand the limitation of the technology innovation in the surveillance industry. I'm sure today my friends going to gain a lot of in-depth knowledge on beyond CCTV, beyond surveillance. So let's understand how technology can help the warehouse and logistic companies to increase their productivity and profitability. So I now request Srini, since you are there, you give a small opening remarks and Vamshi can take over from there. Over to Srini.
Thanks, Dominic. As you said, rightly mentioned, CCTV transformation of surveillance into the technologies that are happening to give functional advantage of the CCTV that is available is a very important factor of innovation now on top of surveillance. It's no longer just an evidence management. It's beyond the evidence management, and the process improvements, occupational limitations are preventions, and there are manifold things along with the process improvements now utilized beyond just the surveillance and cameras. So you do have those cameras that can be utilized for beyond surveillance. And that's what our endeavor is, and our Durang's mantra is. So whether it be it outward open yards for monitoring of the vehicles and monitoring of the material that is lying in the open yards, or inside the warehouses, and then the process improvements while all these things are being monitored. Like you said, millions and millions of packets are moving around. And there is a lot of requirement for quick introduction of new use cases based modification of the solution, which can actually extend your business insights and situational awareness is what is actually required and what the surveillance can do. So that's where we are at, and our application, our platform is completely scalable to any new kind of a need and requirement that crops up for any of the customers. We can build on top of what we have. Most of the time, AI analytics are very limited, because what we build is basically on specific requirements, and industry specific requirements are pre-built into the system, but beyond industry specific requirements, and if any specialized needs are there for the specific customers, those can be implemented and added on top of what we have. And you don't need to extensively change your hardware or field level infrastructure. Field level infrastructure is lying there. Better utilize what you have and create insights and awareness on top of it, and improve your process, improve your functional advantage, and create your command control centers, which are very convenient, easy, and quick to deploy. Not the very traditional way of a rigid command control center that's very, very hard bound to one specific area. So those are the things that are very much needed in transformation like Industry 4.0, and transformation of these logistics centers that are cropping up everywhere. And those things need to be done quickly and efficiently and effectively. And we are at that part where we work with the customer. Having said that, I'll hand over back to you, Dominic.
Oh, thank you, Srini. Wonderful opening remarks by you, and to all the viewers, participants in this program. This will be around 25 to 30 minutes of presentation, and I would request everybody to please be, frank in asking questions. So we have a question answer box down below, Q&A box below. So type your questions. So after Vamshi finishes his presentation, we can take up those questions. So let it be anything, So it will be good to have an interactive webinar rather than one side, just conveying or lecturing. So once Vamshi finishes, let's make it very interactive. Put your question in that box. We'll take it up. We'll cover as much as possible to answer your queries and questions. And those who are probably would like to have this solution, my colleague Lakshmi will be typing the email IDs where you can send your inquiries or interest on the product. We'll get back to you. Now, I would now welcome Vamsi Krishna to do the presentation on warehouse and logistics. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Dominic. It's a pleasure to be here, sharing the panel here with you and the members. So we will, let me share my screen to open the remark. Dominic already mentioned why there is a focus on logistics. We will get to that as well briefly in the presentation. AI, is also has garnered a lot of talk and limelight, artificial intelligence. So why is that? It's basically because it's very powerful, like as powerful as the third eye of Lord Shiva, I would like to compare. The reason being that while our two eyes give us the sight, the AI gives us the insight. And the way it does is basically it connects all the eyes and it makes us become omnipresent. One of the features of the God, right, is being omnipresent. And how does that help? You connect all the cameras. The cameras are the eyes. As far as Durank is concerned, we look at it the way as the cameras being the eye and the brain, which is the AI, processing all those information that's coming and delivering insights. So it can connect to cameras that are all spread all across and then process the information, makes us become omnipresent and omniscient because we know what's going on everywhere at every location. Though we are at one place, we will have access to all the cameras, all our locations. And we become omnipotent because it allows us to get situational awareness and helps us take appropriate action immediately. So that gives us the capability, that's why AI is garnering all that limelight. Now, having talked a little bit about AI, let me start off with the main topic of today, which is basically in terms of logistics. So why logistics? It's a pretty dumb question, I'm sure, right? To start off a presentation with why is logistics? But then, I thought, why not take a closer look at it? And it doesn't hurt to just see where it stands and why or what part logistics is playing in our lives. Every industry brags about what they do and how important it is and how they are contributing to the society. and why not us, I thought. So that's where I wanted to start off with. Basically, everything depends on the demand. There is a consumer and there is a demand. You consume information, we consume data, we consume everything. It's basically a human being is a consumer, and there is a demand that's created, and that demand to be fulfilled. If you see the entire cycle there, everywhere the connectivity is just the logistics, and that's how logistics is as critical. I take a bow to all the people who have joined here, who are part of that moving the wheel, getting sure or making sure that the consumer needs are getting fulfilled. Now, obviously, because of that importance, it has gained the limelight now, at least in the recent times, with even our Honorable Prime Minister launching a national logistics policy just last month, I think on 17th of September or so, where he launched a national logistics policy to ensure that some of the complexities are addressed. And if you look at the industry per se, the industry in India, the Indian logistics industry is about $200 billion worth overall. And not only in terms of economic value, but if you see the second point, it provides livelihood to about 22 million people. That's huge. And that's why it is important to understand, important to ensure that logistics is taken as priority, and it's also can implement the advances in technology in this field as well to gain, and as the speakers and Dominic was talking about earlier, to ensure that the Industry 4.0 is realized. To be able to do that, we need to focus our energies on this. But then, it's complex field. I think I'm not the right guy. People in this seminar session know more about it than myself. There are so many government agencies. There are so many export promotion councils. So many certifications required, and moving of so many ecosystems, etc. Becomes quite complex. And I heard people joking around saying that they spend more time getting the certifications or clearances than actually producing or shipping the products. That's how complex it is. And with that kind of complexity that's involved, what happens is there are always competing priorities and pressures from all across, from multiple sides. The administrators or the CXOs struggle with these competing priorities. Whether it is worry about utilization of the space, whether it is more or less, are you properly utilizing your space, to whether you have the right information at the right time, and how are your IT systems in place, whether you are able to track the things that you need to track, when you have that. And then whether utilization of even resources or the fleet or personnel, etc. Obviously, safety and security is one of the topmost concerns because of various reasons, or the value that's involved, or the people that are involved. So it's one of the definitely highest concern area. But what happens or how that safety or security concern, which is typically the point of our session today, is on the surveillance side of it. So how that is being handled currently is by putting up a CCTV infrastructure. And these typical infrastructures are dependent on individual location. When you have multiple warehouses, multiple centers, fulfillment centers, warehouses, etc., each location would have their own its own deployment, which is controlled by the location's administrator or manager typically, and managed locally with their own CCTV vendor. That's how it's typically done at the moment. Now, we all know that this is how we use CCTV currently. There is a lot of thought that goes on when you are opening up a new center, for example. There is a lot of thought, obviously, that goes on, both from a security standpoint, operational standpoint, and the IT standpoint. Discuss where all the cameras should be, whether we have enough coverage or not, all the areas are getting covered or not, whether you have enough storage or not for these cameras, how much storage is required, how many days, etc. All of that, what kind of networking is required. A lot of thought goes into that, definitely. But then once the implementation is done, the cameras are in place, and then we typically forget about that. Sometimes we don't even check, or we don't even know whether these cameras are functioning, whether they are recording or not, until a point comes where there is some incident that happens, and that incident may be related to damage to property or goods or even personnel, etc., resulting in some liability claims. That's when we tend to go back and try to dig through the footage and try to find the evidence and take action. That's how it's typically currently done, and that's a pretty reactive approach, as we can see here, right? Now, when we see this is a quick fact that I wanted to put forward, that studies, multiple studies showed that the ability to stay attentive goes beyond, drops off a lot beyond 20 minutes, and that's practically impossible to be attentive all the time. And that's one of the reasons we don't drag our sessions, and we don't drag our presentations. Try to keep it short. I hope that we can gain your attention and try to make it useful. Yeah. So because of this reason, and because it's heavily human dependent, right? It's people dependent. Surveillance is typically people dependent. You depend on the person's capability, his commitment, and a lot of things that go on, his training levels, etc. This because of these reasons, typically surveillance is viewed typically as a cost center. It's a necessary evil, so to say, and we don't like it because it's cost, but then we cannot avoid it. We need that recording for investigative purposes. So it's typically viewed as a cost center, but not as an important value add for the business. So our goal is to see whether that can be changed and how that can be changed to ensure that the CCTV or the surveillance becomes a value add for the business. Here are a few challenges typically that administrators or departments have with respect to surveillance. From a security standpoint, the security officers worry about the rising manpower costs. We know that it's ever increasing manpower costs, and it's definitely not highly reliable, and it's a bit inefficient for manual guarding for the reason that we looked at in the earlier slide. So that's a security point of view. And then from an IT or maintenance point of view, you have multiple vendors at multiple locations. You have multiple systems, probably different makes and models, whether it is cameras, NVRs, etc. Then with no real visibility into the camera health, the security officer or the IT manager would typically depend on the locations manager from each location to inform them if there is something wrong, then take the approvals to get that fixed, etc., etc. So there is no central visibility into that. From an operational point of view, or compliance perspective, it's done through eyeball monitoring at the moment. You will have to somebody has to watch, and maybe you do a periodic audit of the locations to ensure everything is going as per the policies and procedures, they're complying, etc. That's heavily, again, people dependent and in person or eyeball monitoring. From an incident or HR perspective, the challenges are, if something happens, there are delays in getting the footage because footage is at that location. You will have to get that across here, access to it, and then there is inability to view live from different locations, etc. So these are some of the points, and not being sure of the presence of the workers, how many workers have come in today, for example, those kind of things from a HR perspective. These are a few challenges, and we thought, can we address these points, these challenges? Can we take up? And since the administrators are already worried or boggled with so many competing issues, can we take away at least one of the worries, which is from a safety and security perspective? Just have one less headache, so to say. And obviously, putting up a smart warehouse equipped with the state-of-the-art surveillance can help drive efficiencies. It can lower the cost of operations, can improve safety and security, obviously, of the employees and the goods and the property. And in the rare case of any incident happening, then it provides a better evidence management as well. Yeah, that is how we can do more with surveillance on these points. And that's how Durant was born, to be able to do more with surveillance. The solution is built on the 4 core pillars of device and network agnostic, because obviously there are multiple systems in place already. Cameras are all pervasive, we know that. So we need to be able to tap into those existing cameras and not require to have new cameras for doing analysis. So be able to connect any make or model of camera from across multiple locations. There is no restriction in terms of number of cameras to be connected or number of locations that can be connected. So all of that can be brought into a single fold with a single login. You will have access to all of that camera feeds. And then not only the live view of all these locations, but even for analysis. So on the existing cameras, as I said, the cameras are the eyes and the brain is the software, the Durang Vision software. So the camera feeds are processed by the software and gives you insights. It could be coming from multiple networks. We know that some of the warehouses are located closer to the cities where you have good broadband connectivity. Some of these locations are remote, definitely because of the fulfillment purposes, where you may not have broadband connectivity and you just probably have a 4G connectivity. So there is a possibility to bring in the camera feeds from even those locations. We have use cases that we fulfill there. So any equipment and any network, be able to bring in to the centralized platform. The second pillar is providing the flexibility and the scalability. Flexibility in terms of the number of storage that you may require on offsite on the cloud, because if something happens to the local storage there, then you may not have any backup. So it's always good to have an offsite backup, at least for important locations. So the solution should provide the flexibility in terms of deciding for some cameras, you may need more storage, 30 days, some cameras, last 7 days of data is good enough. So having that flexibility, even in terms of resolution, some cameras you may need to see at very high resolution, some may be at a slightly lower resolution. So you should have that flexibility to be able to manage that across individual cameras and without any restrictions or worries about how far you can scale as you grow, as your centers grow. Be able to add all the locations and cameras into the same fold. And then there is nothing from a user perspective, there is nothing to install, just the browser is good enough. You log in, you will have access to what your administrator, the customer's administrator provides you access for. Deployment models, are also flexible, where everything can be delivered completely from the cloud securely. That way, there is no maintenance involved. There's no headaches of any other software requirement. Simply delivered from the cloud. Or if you have a larger organization where you have your own data center, the entire solution can be deployed within your own data center, and then nothing needs to go out into the public domain. Everything is processed within your data center location. And a hybrid model in between. So multiple deployment models are provided depending on the requirements or the needs of each individual requirement. Third point is security is a crucial concern, definitely, and then providing centralized access are the other two key points in the third pillar. Security, because obviously your data is very critical and very important, should not go out anywhere. So end-to-end encryption is provided completely, two-factor authentication, the latest technologies, latest protocols, TLS 1.3, AES 256-bit encryption, etc., etc. So all of that to ensure that the data remains private, data remains secure. The fourth pillar and the important one is the artificial intelligence capable analytics, which are integrated into a platform. So what Durang has done is it has integrated both the video management and video analytics into one single solution, which makes it very quick for real-time notifications immediately. And it's also very easy for you to decide what analytic you would like to apply on what camera. So there is no restriction in terms of any camera, you can run any analytic, whether it is to detect intrusion, whether you want to do a facial recognition for your employee attendance, whether you want to track vehicles, through automatic number plate recognition, for example. All of it can be done on any camera. Pick up the camera, apply the analytic, configure it, and you're good to go. You will have notifications on real time. Because all these analytics are based on artificial intelligence, computer vision and neural networks technologies, it's possible and it's easy for Durang to build custom solutions as well for newer object detections and newer anomaly detections, as we will see in a couple of upcoming slides. And also the solution provides APIs for easy integration with third-party systems. right, your existing systems, so that the information that comes out of it can go as input to your other existing systems. So now this is a quick overview of the solution, but then what does it do, or how it can help specifically for our requirement now. Yeah. As we said, cameras are witness to everything that happens 24/7, and if we can tap into that, definitely there is a lot that we can learn. There's a lot that we can understand more, whether it is situational awareness or what is going on in our property or premises. It depends, it minimizes the dependency on the human eye as we move to artificial intelligence, eliminates the fatigue and the reliability issues or consistency issues associated with human monitoring. So when we look at the options, recording, for example, is not only for evidence management, but you can also do trend analysis based on the past incidents and their frequency. Real-time notifications on which you can take immediate action. When you look at SOP adherence, for example, there is no material or no forklift that is blocking the pathways to ensure that it is safe, and forklift should not probably carry load beyond a permissible height to avoid damage, to avoid goods falling off, for example. In terms of compliance and risk management, whether people are wearing the safety kits or not, especially when they are handling, let's say, hazardous material. Whether there is any pedestrian close to a moving forklift, depending on the velocity of the forklift, at what distance the pedestrian can be, etc. So those kind of things are important compliance and risk management activities. Yeah. You can do it through various analytics that are there as part of the platform, like, for example, minimum staffing, to ensure that you have guards, the required number of guards at the place where they're supposed to be. Even the guards, when they patrol in the night across your premises, for example, we can see automatically, you get a notification when the guard comes to a specific area for the night. Okay, you should supposed to take 3 rounds during the night. Whether it's done or not, you can track that as well. So you get a better risk management and compliance management, etc. And it provides you, because it's a centralized one-stop solution where you have access to all the cameras. You will have eyes on all the locations. You can do centralized audits of your processes, of your premises. Obviously, in terms of your asset or facility protection also, there are analytics that are specifically addressing that need. Be it object watch, for example, that the fire extinguishers, which should not be moved out, that should be there always. If there are missing fire extinguishers from their place, for example, it can be notified. Things like that. So with the camera feed coming from each camera being processed by the intelligence software, you get real-time notifications, and you can also automate some of these actions, especially, for example, and not just notifications, but even to automate some of the actions. Like in the night, when there is any intrusion that happens, you can automatically sound a hooter, or flashlight can be on, switched on, or you can have a hooter sound it or notify it to the nearby police station, for example. The requirements will be different. If you, as we said, if the warehouse is closer to the city, the kind of safety or security requirements you may have may be different compared to a remote area location, right? So depending on that, you can apply the existing analytics, or we can even customize some of the analytics which are not already integrated into the Durang platform. We will be able to customize and custom build some of the analytics. Like, for example, these are some of these examples of if there is a danger of the load falling off, if the forklift has, somebody takes too much material up, and there is a danger of goods falling off, causing injury or causing damage to the goods. If there is any object or material blocking the ways, that can be automatically detected and notified. And also forklift movement safety, whether if anything is crossing the pedestrian area, for example, or if it's going in the wrong direction. Even this is from a safety or security standpoint of view, or a compliance standpoint of view. From a customer service point of view, it can train the system to detect any damaged boxes or open boxes, etc., so that you will have immediate evidence to handle customer complaints. Some more use cases from a controlled access perspective, and you can use facial recognition technology to ensure that the only authorized personnel are supposed to enter or handle the hazardous substances. You can automatically track the vehicle entry and exit to the warehouses using automatic number plate detection. So there is no need for any security guard to manually note down each vehicle detail, etc. You can better manage your inventory, your space utilization by understanding how much of space is left, how much is used, etc. Handling whether people are handling the delicate or breakable products properly or not. So all of that can be also trained by the system to detect. Obviously, we spoke about safety compliance. It can detect if people are wearing helmets or not, if there is any smoking happening, which can be fire hazard, whether people are wearing masks or uniforms for safety, etc. And perimeter protection is pretty well known. I mean, you can do loitering detection, intrusion detection of only a person. Especially the problem with multiple people talking about AI now is there is a lot of confusion around. There is a lot of misinformation floating around that you have intrusion detection right on the cameras, for example, these days. But once you set up that, and you will realize that you are getting a lot of false alarms. And when you see a lot of false alarms, actually, you will miss the actual alarm on which you would need to take action upon. So the system needs to be accurate. Our system needs to alert only if it's a person, for example, that's intruding the zone, and not a dog going past there, or lighting conditions change, etc. So it needs to be accurate, and that's where the Durang solution comes into play. There are also a lot of custom requirements. This is just to give a perspective from outside the logistics industry, just to understand or get a perspective on how other people or other industries are making use of the smart surveillance solutions from Durang. In a construction monitoring scenario, for example, a camera is mounted on top of a crane. So you get a bird's eye view of the entire construction premises. You can do a remote audit. The project manager need not visit the site or all the sites. He can guide the team, etc. And from a telecom or power lines perspective, it's we get the drone feed, and then we can detect if there are any rusted bolts or missing bolts, etc. Those kind of things are happening in that field. Even in food processing or manufacturing side of it, there are use cases through AI, through our solutions, wherein on a sugarcane conveyor belt, if there are any logs or iron rods that fall on the conveyor belt, with the danger of getting into the crusher, which will stop the process. Typically that goes on 24/7 when the season starts. So we have built solution and deployed it where it can immediately detect if there is any foreign object like that. So these are some of the, and in a healthcare, for example, is if in a geriatric care facility in the US, there is a requirement that a person using a walker should not go out alone of the main door, because it's an insurance, a liability for them. So we've deployed that solution wherein a person using a walker won't go out of the main door alone. These are some of these, custom analytics that are built, just to give you an idea from an outside the industry perspective. So you can think of what other use cases that could help you. This is just for that purpose, basically. So you can think of what would add more value to your processes, your operations, and then that is possible to be built. Because there is no problem, that is silly. Only when you face that problem, you will realize the importance or the gravity of that issue. So there is nothing that is a silly problem, and there is no problem that is unsolvable as well. We can solve the problem. There is technology available now. It's just that we need to see at what effort, what cost, whether it makes sense or not. Other than that, everything definitely is a solvable problem. And the possibilities are limitless, and the implementation of smart surveillance provides benefits across multiple departments in the organization. These are some of the points from Durang that we spoke about, providing a centralized view of all your locations, everything that's going on. You have a smart search feature to locate, to filter through all the events that got triggered over a period of time across multiple cameras, look for a specific object, look for a specific person by the shape or size, etc. You get real-time alerts of events. You have a health tracking of all the equipment, how many cameras are online, how many are offline. You get default reports in terms of the number of incidents that happened over a period of time, how many incidents are happening, what kind of incidents are happening more, during which parts of the day, or which location is having more such incidents, etc. You can compare across locations, you can compare across different types of security incidents or operational incidents, near miss events for a forklift scenario, for example. All of that is possible through the solution. And from a command center perspective, as I said, Durank started off with the view to do more with surveillance, and we wanted to take surveillance away from eyeball monitoring into event-based, proactive monitoring. And there is a screen that gives you, you don't need to keep watching all your 500, 600 cameras. If you have set up the analytics on the cameras, even any events that get triggered automatically pop up on that screen, and with the live view of that particular video as well from that camera. So you can take immediate action on that. There is a possibility to take action on the screen. You can escalate it to the next level if you would like somebody else to review. That provision is also given, and they can review it and then take appropriate action or close that incident. So incident addressing mechanism is also there in the system. As I said, implementation of this, provides benefits across multiple departments. These are some of the problems that we spoke about, right? Some of the challenges from different departments that we spoke a bit earlier, from a security officer standpoint, from an IT standpoint, etc. Now, all these are addressed through a deployment of a solution like Durank Vision. From a security perspective, you're in control of all your premises. You can immediately respond quickly to incidents. From an IT officer, IT management perspective, you have you have provided the right tools to your internal customers, which is your security or your operations departments. You have fewer systems to maintain because it's this one single solution that's covering all your locations, less of a maintenance headache. From an operations perspective, you are able to monitor all your processes across locations. You can improve your efficiency, take quicker decisions. Even from a commercial standpoint, it actually gives you, when you have a centralized command center where you can say that, this is what we are using and this is what we have to manage our own warehouse centers. It gives confidence to your customers, and that improves your commercial capability as well. Obviously, from an incident tracking perspective and from HR. So all of these points are addressed through a solution like Durank Vision. Now, what does it take to implement such a system? Is the embarking on this journey of AI needs preparation, and the famous ADKAR model of managing the change gives us some idea. I'll quickly run through this. Basically, there's awareness of new technologies that's required, and awareness of possibilities that is required, and that's the intention of this. For example, this webinar, that we want to ensure that awareness is there in the industry of the possibilities of the technologies that are available in the market today. And awareness is the first step. Obviously, awareness does not do anything else unless we have the desire to implement, desire to change, desire to improve. And that's the next step, which is the desire. And then knowledge, obviously. Just the desire will not get us anywhere again. We need to have knowledge of the systems, of the processes, of your own environments, what is best to be done, what is not. So, but then again, knowledge is a necessary condition, but not a sufficient. Ability is required. Who has the capability to execute that? From your side, whether you are committing the resources that are required, committing to see through the challenges, whether your partner or the vendor has the capability, the ability to execute the plans, etc. And finally, it's not a one single step that is taken typically. It's a journey, and you have one problem, then you resolve that, get to the next item that you can pick up, and you can constantly reevaluate your situation, conditions, and then take detours if necessary. Ensure that we are continue to go on the right path of the implementation of smart surveillance solution. Implementation of AI is not a magic potion. It's not like a vaccine that we take and then we are done with it once, right? It's not like that. We need to look at all the problems that we face, prioritize them, pick up one after the other, take something that we want to address through AI, plan for it. What is the best way to address that? Build the right network models. This is from the technology point of view, building the right neural network models to address that particular scenario. Deploy that, make any changes that are required, refine that model that you have built to ensure you get accurate and better results. This is more applicable for customized requirements. For a standard solutions that we spoke about earlier, this is already done. This is kind of ready-made. But for the custom requirements, this is what it will be required to go through. Like as I said, this is more of a journey, like how they say, the success is not a destination, it's a journey. Similarly, the AI implementation, getting benefits out of the smart surveillance is also a journey. It's not just one destination. You solve something, you get to the next problem, you solve that, move on to the next, where you can improve processes, etc. And in that, because it's a journey, it's important to choose who you walk along with. Just as it is important who you walk along with in your career, in your life, etc. It's also important who you walk along with in the journey of implementing a smart surveillance solution. The consideration is quite important, and what you should look for is whether you are getting proactive notifications, real-time notifications, and not just the reactive evidence management, whether it is helping you to take immediate actions on it, whether it is flexible and scalable to your needs, today's needs, and whether it is flexible to address your future needs. It's not just one product that's also a specific problem, but the capability of adding on capability to address your future needs and problems. And whether you have proper incident management capability, not just a CCTV monitoring room. As we said, eyeball monitoring will not get us anywhere. We need to ensure to move towards that industry 4.0 that we spoke about. We need to have these possibilities of proactive notifications, proactive actions to be taken immediately. So all in all, typically you need a technology partner, not just a CCTV vendor, and that's where we would like to position ourselves as somebody that is willing to walk with you in the journey and to ensure that you get the benefits of technology and in improving your operations and improving your safety and security. A last word from my side is that AI is not just all. We spoke a lot about a lot of operational improvements, etc., but AI is not one that you need to go on with. A good VSAS, the video surveillance solution, is a great starting point in itself, actually. So you can start with the simple VSAS implementation that can provide the above benefits, and then gradually move on to the AI implementation. But let me just take a couple of examples in this. Right? If you look at how important the loss of video footage is, if you have loss of video footage, it results in pilferage. It may result in inability to handle customer complaints. And then, typically security heads depend on the branch managers to inform if any CCTV is not working, etc. Now, think about an automatic notification going to your security vendor. As I said, each location may have a separate CCTV vendor. Think about a scenario or a solution that can send an automatic notification to your CCTV vendor if any camera is down with a copy to you. Then you eliminate a lot of management headache, the processes that are required. That's the way, where you can be sure that your recordings are always available. If there is any problem at all, which typically is, we know life, right? Some problem arises, and then whether you are able to address that immediately or not. So the VSAS itself can send notifications to your CCTV vendor if the camera goes down. Then they take action on it. You are marked a copy, so you are aware. Yeah. Similarly, offsite storage in the cloud. It's time consuming. We need offsite storage of the data because if storage is lost, then you lose everything. You have no data there. So it's time consuming to transfer data every time to a different storage, different location, etc. And there is always fear of data, corruption or loss, etc. So imagine the scenario of all your data getting stored automatically on the cloud, automatically. There is no need for any human intervention. It helps a lot in terms of ensuring your evidence management is in proper hands. Similarly, ability to create a link that you can share with external parties. Maybe say your customers, for example, when they are sending you some goods, then you can give them access while they are stored. Those goods are stored in your warehouse. You can share them the link during that point of time for that period. where they will have access only to the live view of that camera alone, not other cameras. Nothing they can do, just have the live view of that camera. So some of these, are a great starting point. A good visas is a great starting point. And then you can start with the AI implementation, start small, and then pick up the more complex and more tougher problems. And we are there with you in that journey, and we'll be happy to be part of that journey of improving your operations and ensuring you are successful in what you do. With that, I thank you for the time, and I hope it was worth your while. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Amshi. Wonderful presentation. Very enlightening. And I'm sure I'm requesting now the participant to post your questions if you have any, so that our speakers can address to you. Meanwhile, as a moderator, I would like to ask you a few questions, Vamshi and Srini. Can the existing camera of a premises or a warehouse be an analog camera or an IP camera? So most of them in rural areas or probably remote areas, they have the analog camera, which is not well connected. So can these analog camera also gather this intelligence, or can become a AI-enabled camera with your software?
Yes, definitely, Dominic. It is possible to connect even analog cameras to the solution, both for offsite storage and live monitoring, as well as intelligence. Because the intelligence is in the software, not on the camera. We do not depend on any functionality of the camera for analysis. All we take is the video feed, the live feed from the camera is what we take. So the feed can come from the analog camera as well. And the way we connect it is through the DVR, because analog camera does not send an IP stream. Through the DVR, we can take the RTSP stream of the camera to connect, and then the analytics are processed on top of that live video feed, and you get business insights out of your existing analog cameras also.
That's great news. Some of the VMS that we have in the country does not support the existing analog camera. If you look at, I'm from Bangalore, so there are warehouses on the borders of and Telangana and Tamil Nadu and Goa, Belgaum, and all that. So there are a lot of warehouses on the borders, but not well connected through internet. I'm sure the feature that you have built onto your software, which takes the information from the DVR, it's quite informative. Which means you're saying the existing camera, whether it be an analog or an IP, your software can talk to them.
Yes. So just to add to that, Dominic, we have use cases of connecting for one customer more than 60 warehouses, where different kinds of makes and models of cameras are implemented there. All of them are brought through our cloud to their command control center. Now they are monitoring all these cameras, about 1,000 cameras from different locations to one command control. That was implemented very quickly as a first step to bring them on board into VMS, cloud VMS. And now we're actually rolling out, as a phase 2 analytics on top of them.
So you mean to say a customer got warehouse in Maharashtra, some are in Telangana, and some are in Haryana, and each warehouse has got a different make of the camera. It could be anything. Okay, all the different. They have 60 locations. 60 different models, different, some are IP, some are analog. So you mean to say you can bring them to your cloud together, pick up all these videos and bring it to your command center.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. Not just for the monitoring, also for the analytics and offsite storage. Some of these locations, you might not need offsite storage for all the cameras. Say you have 50 cameras in one location and you want a critical 4 or 5 cameras to have offsite storage. Out of that 4, one needs 30 days, one needs 5 days, and one needs 180 days for the compliance purpose. You can do that mix and match and use whatever the way you want to use it.
Oh, it's a mix and match is a great feature of your VMS. How different you are from, what do you call VMS in this country? VMS softwares are flooded by, so many are there. And you are Atmanirbhar Bharat product, so you're developing in-house in India. I'm sure in the
So
Prime Minister's office, Prime
it's a
Minister's office is making a note of this, saying here is a company which is produced in India along with another company here. How strong you feel that you can meet these international brands or probably one step ahead of this competition?
Yeah, so the primary USP of the that we have done right off the bat when we started developing it and back then was tightly integrating VMS with analytics. The reason being, if you have a VMS as a separate product and a fleet of analytics bought from different providers, there is always a integration issue. There is always a handshake issue. So if the video feed is coming into my internal system and my AI is overlaid on that hardware of my own VMS, then there is no handshake that goes outside and then does the process somewhere else. So this actually helps in terms of reducing latency, making it more real time. Not near real time, but more real time. So the difference is the lag. And then the difference is the proactive notification that goes immediately on the real-time basis. You need to have that tight integration of VMS and analytics, because the feed, what is coming into the system, has to be immediately kicked by the relevant AI analytic. And then the next step of notification and then processing that and then pushing it to whoever need to get that notification. All this has to happen internally. Dominic, there is a lot of times what happens, the multiple systems talking to each other. There is a lot of efficiency issues in the IT. This is commonly known, not in surveillance, but across anything, whether it be it ERP or whether location, systems. So that's where we have created a internal system of right from taking the feed to completing notification of the event. Everything is done internally.
We have a question from Denzel. What is the minimum resolution required if analog cameras to perform AI? For example, facial recognition or LPR.
So I can take that question. Analog for AI, let me just put it in perspective, right? There are a lot of analytics in AI. For most of the analytics, a resolution of a regular VGA resolution, which is the 640/480, is good enough. Let's say, for example, you want to look for intrusion of a person. Let's say you want to look for a minimum staffing, whether people are there, required number of people are there, whether you want to look for crowd formation, you want to look for loitering scenario. All of these can be done at just a 640/480 resolution, which all the analog cameras provide easily. Right? Whereas when you spoke about facial recognition, yes, we definitely require slightly higher resolution. A 720p resolution is better. It's a minimum required. We can do at 640 as well, but the accuracy levels will go down. So we recommend to keep the minimum resolution for facial recognition at 720p. And even analog cameras do provide 720p as well. Now, when it comes to LPR, we need slightly more higher resolution. That reason being, our face is much bigger, license plate is very small to read, so you need a higher resolution. So for that reason, we require a minimum of 1080p resolution for recognizing of license plates. So that's how it is. Typical, most of the analytics, the standard ones, which depend on identifying or detecting a person, can be done at 640/480. Whereas you want to recognize something, not just detect, but recognize, then you need a higher resolutions, like a facial recognition, license plate recognition require higher resolutions.
So Arjun is asking, can you identify a damaged commodity stored in a warehouse through a camera?
Yes, it's definitely possible to identify as long as it's visible. See, whatever, all the analytics are based on computer vision. So when we say vision, it's basically we should be able to see that. And as long as it's visible, we can train the system to detect what is considered to be a damage, what is not considered to be a damage. For example, we looked at in one of the slides, we can detect the damaged boxes or opened boxes, etc. So when you say goods, we need to probably figure out a little bit more whether they are open or whether they're inside the box, and we can detect a damage to the box. So that's something we probably may need to discuss a little bit more to get a better understanding. But whatever is visible that can be seen can be trained by this system through machine learning. We can train the system to detect those anomalies. It's definitely possible.
So the software, Durang software, has both the capability of machine learning. Of course, AI is there. So how effective is machine learning in VMS? Is my question to you.
Yeah, it's basically the video analytics, right? When you say video analytics based on artificial intelligence, they are based on machine learning. All our analytics are based on computer vision and machine learning. There is nothing on motion detection, for example. That's where the differentiator comes, because most of the analytics are based on motion detection. If there is any motion that happens, you get an event triggered or an alarm triggered. Whereas in Durang's scenario, it's completely based on machine learning. Through network models that are built completely in-house. There is no third-party component in the entire system. Everything is built in-house with all the data sets, all the neural network models, the machine learning that happens in-house. And that's pretty effective because we take the data from multiple, from our customers and from available data sources, etc. That train the system in-house and build the network models.
So coming to, I think, Sumitra, your answer is quite basic. So Vamshi is typing the answer for you. Let me go to more of Durang, go-to-market strategy. As I said earlier, there are so many softwares available, but there are only a handful, or probably you can count on finger, who are developed in India and Indian condition learning. So how, Durang, what is your strategy to go to market? So how are you approaching your customer in India?
Dominic, most of the time we do work with our partners on the ground, because the partners which already are the vendors for the corporates or companies, the enterprises. They do know as of now implementing just the cameras, but we enhance their ability to do get to the next step. We do handhold, and we take the responsibility of implementation. We take the responsibility of deliverables. So those two are not handed over to our partners, because when these new custom requirement comes from the customers, right? So for the new kind of a use case, for the new kind of anomaly detection, or any kind of a scenario processing, we cannot just transfer that to our partners. We do work with our partners and then reach out to the customer, and then together we actually make sure that is deployed and delivered. So our go-to-market most of the time is through our partners, but in some cases where there is a requirement is huge in a kind of like a demanding scenario, we do take personal attention in attending to that directly with the customer.
The process industry, how effective in controlling or monitoring the process? What is your thought about the effectiveness of VMS in the process industry?
So, the process industry, or whether the manufacturing, whatever you take, the 90% of the time use cases differ from security use cases to their process use cases, right? So like what Vamshi has shown about the sugar mill case scenario where we need to detect a foreign object, right? That is very specific to the sugar industry. But if you take it to logistics, you have a conveyor belt that is going on, and you have boxes on top of it actually moving. And if you want to read something on that box, if you put a high resolution camera, like 1080p camera, or a little bit above in terms of frame rate, we can read that through the regular camera, provided we train the system. If we know the labels, And if the labels are provided to us, we do the system training and then start, recognizing them and reading them. You don't need the barcode. The entire label is read by us, and then, we spit out the data. And then that can be actually transferred and sent to their ERP. So downstream systems, like what Vamshi said, we can push the APIs. Whenever the box is read, the label has been, notified, detected, and the content of the label is read. That we can actually transfer on a text format or a JSON format to their downstream system, where they can take it as an input and update their system automatically without any manual input. So there is a lot of process improvements can be done, but provided we need to work with the customer in close hand in hand, because the labels can be different from each customer. The kind of data that actually the label got, that may be different. So all these things we work, and then a lot of times we do within 4 to 8 weeks or 4 to 10 weeks is what we actually turn around on a new analytic. And some use cases may go a little bit, couple of weeks more, but otherwise we do deliver within less than 8 weeks.
So you want to say that apart from the set features that you may have to the customer, you can also develop the software as per the customer need.
Yes.
It's not necessary. It is just a box moving product that this is the only thing. So you are saying you have a capability to understand the customer need. And if there is a handshake between the end user and you could probably give beyond what you have now.
Exactly. So, the surveillance use cases are very standard in the industry. We do have them all inbuilt, and we have delivered a lot of custom use cases to our customers directly. And those are done on a turnkey basis. We don't integrate those into our system because they are specific to the customer need. So that are delivered directly to the customer, so that it is basically for their specific need.
Interesting. So this is something which I feel compared to competition, you have edge over others. Is you can go to the client and sit and understand and design the whole solution and deliver them within 8 weeks or something.
Yeah, new analytics. So that's why we say that we are not selling a box. We are not just selling a packaged solution. We are selling VMS and analytics, and beyond that, do more with surveillance. What your requirement is, we can build it and deliver it to you directly as a turnkey project.
So in one word, you are not just a box movers.
Exactly.
You're solution providers.
Exactly. That's why we walk along with the customer, and then we, work with them all along, to provide. Created the VSAS, video surveillance as a service, with opportunity to do more with the surveillance. So, we are always with the customer. It's not like we're deploying it and then walking away and, just thinking about AMC. It's not the case. We'll be with them to do more customizations as required, like more like a IT company. Where we can deliver more for them.
So another question popped up here. Chokapa is asking, how do you auto-detect intruders in the system, communicate to the customers, and instantaneous prevention and correction is done?
Vamshi, you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. Basically, intrusion detection happens at multiple levels. If you're looking at just an intrusion by a person that's happening, we have an intrusion detection in the system, which detects if any person is entering the zone that you define. So you can draw the area around your area of interest within the camera field of view. Then as soon as any person is detected in that area, the system triggers that event, and that event you can choose who you want that event to be notified to, in what mode. So events are notified via email messages, text messages, an SMS message, and we are also coming up with WhatsApp integration as well for those messages. So as soon as any event is triggered, you can specify who those events should be notified to immediately. So it could be, in a case of intrusion, it would typically be to a security guard or security officer. So immediately they will get that notification on their mobile phone as soon as this event is triggered in the system. so they can dispatch or they'll have appropriate action to be taken. They can also define if at all an escalation needs to be happening. System provides that option where you can escalate this event for review by another superior officer, for example, and they can look at that event, look at the immediate live footage as well, define what action to be taken of informing the police, etc. Whatever is the defined SOP as part of your standard operating procedure, that can be taken up.
Yeah, and the add-on to that is we can also integrate with the hooters, with the lights, all those things, and then you can switch on the floodlight automatically without any human intervention, and also switch on the hooter. There is one example on this case, Dominic. One of the jewelry chain. Where they have small lockers across different district level. What they have done is with our system, with one just camera focusing on that locker, anytime if somebody comes near to that safe deposit locker, they get a notification at the command control center, and then they see what's actually happening. As simple as that. It pops up in their command control when somebody gets near to that safe deposit locker. And if that camera is switched off, then also they will get a notification of the health saying that particular camera in particular location is off, so that they'll take corrective measures.
So we have been, reading a lot of newspaper and a lot of new police laws and legislation is happening. With the police very specifically, when they want to investigate, the kind of question they ask to the user or where the incident happened. How effective the VMS, if there was any VMS, does that really help the policing or the police department through VMS? Like I read in a newspaper in Telangana, the government wants to make education institute and the schools to get the feeds of the classroom also.
Yes.
I could see VMS is becoming now part of the entire, surveillance solution, where specific need of the particular state or the department, police department, can be built into this analytics and provide them. Is it your future of Durank also thinking online?
Yeah. So the advantage with Durank is like earlier Vamshi said, we don't have a restriction of creating users. We don't have restriction of adding any number of cameras, any number of locations. So if one feed is coming from the camera to the cloud, if 100 people are watching that, there is no stress on the last mile bandwidth. Say, for example, from your logistics van, just say, for example, you have one camera with a 4G, and that is actually streaming to your command control. And then zonal office is watching that feed, central office is watching that feed, and then a couple of others are watching on their handheld devices. If these 7 or 8 feeds are coming from, to different people, but we are only pulling one from the location. So your 4G is not stressed out. It is not sending 4 streams. So that way you're managing the bandwidth at the endpoint very effectively, but you are having the experience of exactly the same viewing like television, where multicasting is done from the VMS. So whether you watch 100 people or 500 people, we don't restrict that. So that's the USP of us. So we take only one unicast from and split it out and then send it as a multicast to everyone else.
Well, we have these financial institutions where ATMs, though the break-in is only 10%, but still the damage that has happened onto the remote unmanned ATMs machines. I feel the software like Duran can help in a great extent. There are so many ATMs in the country, and every day you see somebody is coming with a truck to pull off the the ATM machine itself. I can keep doing this webinar on specific cases like securing ATM, securing jewelry, securing your locker for financial institution. So I am happy that we can do every month twice a webinar on how do you protect the assets and the valuable items in a So let's go to Denzel. Denzel, I just want to say he's been a very large experience from Siemens and other things. And he's come from Oman with a lot of experience. So I know him personally and a very highly technical person. So he's asking, do you have the tracking features after the intrusion detection in one object handed over to the nearby cameras?
Yeah, I get that question. So I'll take that. Denzel, basically the way the intrusion detection works is that on every camera, let's say, for example, around your perimeter, you have set up intrusion detection. Cameras are configured with intrusion detection analytic. So as soon as intrusion happens on any one of those cameras, that's obviously notified, etc. And if this person moves on to the next location and there is intrusion detection set up on that camera as well, obviously an alert is generated there too. And everywhere this person goes, all those locations, the events will get triggered and they will be there. When in the smart search feature that we have in Rank, you can filter through all these events, look for similar objects or similar persons with the shape or color of the person. And then, the dress that the person is wearing, So you can locate that and see where all this person has traveled. It's possible to do that. It's not directly tracking of that same object with, let's say, for example, an object ID, but with the configuration or with the characteristics of that person, what the color of the dress is wearing or the shape of the person. So you can filter through these events across multiple cameras and filter through and see the same person looking at in multiple cameras.
No, hope Nazari got your answer, and it's 12:18, and we covered the warehouses and logistic, and many more to come. And what Srini has just indicated, yes, we probably will have our next webinar for the educational institute and universities. They already have a lot of cameras, the classrooms are monitored. So how Durang VMS can help and enhance the features for the school management, of the parents of the school, children. So I think let's do this webinar probably 18th of November. I'm just blocking. So my request to all the participants here, though we have 100 plus registration. So we want to communicate to all of you. We will have next webinar, how AI and ML can play an important role in on education institutes and universities. So probably on November 18th is what we have decided to have this. So I want to thank both Vamshi and Srini on the great weekend. They are spending their valuable family time with us. And Vamshi is supposed to travel, he stayed back. Thank you so much. I'm sure we all enjoyed, especially my participants, I'm sure they would have enjoyed. And this recording of the whole webinar will be circulated to a lot many more logistic companies and all that. I'm sure, you will have a great interaction with many more customers, though they are not online today. They will come back to you. Thank you very much, Srini. Thank you very much, Vamshi. And back end, we have Lakshmi. Thank you, Lakshmi, for being patient and helping us to make this success, webinar successful. Thank you all. You have a great weekend. Stay safe. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dominic. Thank you.
One more question. Yeah, I'll take yes now. What are the chances of pierce through the system for the theft remote? Can you read that, Vamshi?
Yeah, I'm looking at it, trying to understand what exactly Chocopa means by that. What are the chances to pierce through the system for theft from remote? Meaning, basically, I guess it's at remote locations. If there is any chance that somebody can sneak through and commit some theft, is what I understand. So the intrusion detection is very, very strong. You will immediately get notifications if anybody intrudes into the system, into the area, into the region that you specify. So there are no chances. It's more than 99.9% accurate in terms of detecting any intrusion happening in the system. So you would be immediately getting alerted. So if there is anything specific that you have in mind in terms of the remote theft, because I'm not sure if I understood that question correctly, we can get in touch offline and definitely we can take it.
And these are cloud-based, so the theft of that information of the incident is, it's not lost because it's stored in the cloud. That's what I can understand. So we'll come back to you, Chukapa. Thank you very much once again. Look forward to see you in our next webinar on November 18th. All the best. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Dominic.
Thank you. Bye-bye.